Now recording. Hello, friends. How are you guys doing today? Happy Wednesday. Happy community lunch. Ask anyone anything. One of my favorite events of the week. We have a lot of good ones, so it's tough to play favorites, but I love this one because it's an open space. It's a safe space. Anyone can ask anyone any question, and I just love that we have this time together. So thank you all for joining. And we also got this form at the top of the stage chat if anyone wants to submit a question anonymously. I'll pull that up, see if there's any submissions. But in the meantime, does anyone have a question that they'd like to ask publicly?
Yeah, so there's something I'd like to talk about.
Take it away, Seth.
I have an idea I'd like to run past the community, and it involves proposals. So what do you think about adding an extra step to the proposal process about steps that need to be taken after the proposal passes? In particular, who's responsible for it? So for example, with my coordinate proposal, I found that some complexities emerged after it passed. And I think if I had understood things better about how a proposal actually gets executed, things could have been done more quickly. So what do you think about having a post-proposal past execution plan?
I love that. Yeah. So once a proposal passes, I also think too, though, it's good to just specify that stuff in the proposal itself. So we can have a process for it for sure. And I think right now, maybe it's just like a channel where people post. Maybe you can come up with what that process would be, but definitely see. You're right that it's not always clear just because a proposal passes what transactions need to actually be executed and when they need to be executed and how they should be executed. And so I think there's kind of twofold. One, making sure that is more clear in the proposal. Maybe that's actually something that we should include in this addendum to the governance process that Miss and Ron are working on. Specifying that if there are transactions that will need to be executed, that you specify what those are in the proposal. It also helps get us prepared for safe snap because you can actually include transactions in a proposal when you create it on snapshot, and those transactions can actually be executed without the multi-sig. Even that's a bit of a complex, gas-intensive process that adds length to when the transaction can get executed. It is good for us to get into that habit. I'm hopeful that a more elegant solution than safe snap will be launched before we actually have to depend on it. So yes, I think it's a great suggestion, and I think maybe you could take if you're thinking about it, maybe you could take on kind of proposing what that post-proposal execution process looks like, and then maybe Miss and Ron can add a note in the addendum to the governance process to specify any transactions that will need to be executed.
Yeah, I would highly recommend anyone on the call that has not been out to the forum to check out the proposal. Please do that. Seth, that would be a great place for that to fit in. And hopefully between tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to get that flipped over into ideation. So now would be a great time to tackle that.
Sweet. Thank you, Matthew. Let's go ahead and post that in the stage chat. And thank you again, Miss, for taking that on. Yeah, definitely. This is an important process, right? It's a governance process, and we should always be striving to improve it. And so highly encourage any community members to go check it out and see if you have any thoughts for how we can make the governance process even better, even more clear.
You could probably get some sort of solution that you're looking for, Seth, by having like a priority category. Like you could prioritize like if your proposal passes, like it needs to be like prioritized by like engineering or something, and then you could also have like an execution part of the governance process, or like disclaimer or something. Like if something's like clearly not like a priority for like engineering, it could probably like be more transparent. Like you could gauge it for the community and like be like, hey, like the YAT thing, for example, like that's backburnered, and like there's a few other things, right? So like maybe we could make it known to like people that are making proposals like that there is a backlog, and there is like a process that has to like be gone through to even like execute some of these proposals, considering like some of the proposals are just like bounties like thrown at us, right? Like like the 60K situation. So it's situational, but you could probably figure something out.
I think it's a really good idea too, Hunt. Like I can imagine, let's say you're our protocol or your partner and you want to make one of these proposals like for a bounty or to get integrated. We should probably have like little guides. I think it'd be worthwhile for us to put the guides for like how to propose a new feature integration and stuff like that, and think about some of the common proposals we're getting, and if there are some ways we can categorize it and give more guidance for something like that, and just set those expectations up front that, hey, just because you pass a proposal to give us a bounty doesn't mean that we're going to prioritize a feature just in Sun. I think will be worthwhile. I always like to use the Justin Sun example of Justin Sun just coming in and using his big wealth to make ShapeShift the Tron platform.
Yeah, so it sounds like the proposal writer needs to begin a dialogue with whoever is going to be executing that proposal. I just think it's important that, because it's people executing proposals and not code, that means it needs to get on somebody's to-do list or agenda, right? And so
Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to expedite that, because
the side effect of that though, Seth, is like that there has to be like a communication between the executor, like for example, like OX, and like the person that like is just putting up this proposal. Like I could come up with like 10 really awesome ideas like to throw up as proposals probably right now, but like engineering can't handle all of like the different ideas. Like they would probably be backlogged, right? So there has to be like a communication from like the quote unquote like person that's going to be executing it if it's not the person writing the proposal. And I think that's like a big component of what you're talking about.
And I know
that's why I said a dialogue. Not a
only
US
time. Yeah, it's probably the only time you'll hear me rail against process, but I think that like if you put too many implementation details in a proposal, kind of bogs it down and opens it up to bike shedding a bit too much. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could roughly name the people responsible for implementation. But I feel like it kind of risks being a little bit too waterfally and rigid. Like you don't want to over specify things, because then if implementation details change, then have you really delivered on what was voted on in terms of governance? So
yeah, I think
recognize there's a certain amount of ambiguity in all tasks.
I know that's something we've been talking about on the product team, just because, these proposals and these bounties aren't set in vacuums, and it's never just one person or one even work stream that's working on something. Any proposal of substance will include product engineering, operations, security, along with plenty of others. So it's not even that one person or one work stream can agree or approve something. So it really does come down to the importance of when something's being a proposal, just because it passes, it does not guarantee any sort of priority or any sort of time slot into our roadmap. It's pretty much just saying that the community wants and promotes this. And then I think it is up to a lot of workstream cross communication and communication with the community at large to figure out the actual roadmap and how we're going to prioritize all the different proposals.
Yeah, and I think, well said. I think to that point too, I mean, right now, obviously, the structure and everything else being built out. So as we get further along and engineering has all the docs and everything put out there, and outside contributors can easily, spin up the environments and start contributing as outside contributors. I think it becomes less of a burden on engineering's shoulders to have to, oversee a lot of the bulk of the work that's going on right now. Like, I mean, DeFi is, just all over the place, making sure that everything is working. I hope that in the future, once, we have outside contributors that have the resources they need, they can then kind of, jump into these proposals and help, with some of that lift. And then also it becomes Fox's, point, Fox McCloud's point. You should, as a proposer of any proposal, you should be within the community. You should, be involved in the community. You should be interacting with the community. So therefore, at those points, you should be establishing those relationships with the different work streams, and building that type of access and knowledge of who, might be good people to speak to. And then when you do put a proposal up and it does get passed, you already have those channels of communication open, and you can therefore, rely on those relationships to kind of see where they're at, because you might not always know where everyone's at because we're all doing a million and one things at once, but you should have a feel for what's happening, so you don't expect those expectations of, oh, as soon as I get this passed, I'm next in line. It's like everyone said, it doesn't really work like that. So we definitely, I think, yeah, we'll get there. I think it's just it's just going to take time for us to build a lot of the I guess the visibility to what we can see, what's happening, so we can prioritize. And I know work streams like product and stuff already have, they have boards, they already have everything, task lists out. So engineering is very well good at that too. So, I mean, you can kind of look around and see, what is prioritized at the moment. It's just have to kind of be, understanding of that as a proposer.
Yeah, and I also think it's important to understand kind of the again, not everything's in a vacuum. So, like for one example, perpetual protocol is this amazing protocol where you can trade perpetual futures. And I know they're trying to create a bounty or a proposal for us to integrate them, and we love the idea, but also just understanding that perpetual runs on a layer 2. And we can't, even if we wanted to, we don't have layer 2s integrated yet. So understanding that it's also not as easy as just saying, ooh, we want that feature, ooh, we want that integration. Understanding that there's engineering lift and effort to even, set up a frame for some of these protocols to even be implemented. So yeah, I think what everyone's saying, and we're all agreeing, is that it's more complex than just vote on a proposal and implement. And it's definitely a growing process that we're getting better after every proposal, after every bounty. And we're definitely still, I know product and engineering is actually meeting later this week to continue discussing this process. So it's definitely an area of friction right now, but I do think it is getting better.
Well said, Fox McCloud. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I think Adrian, go ahead, Nervous.
Oh no, I just agree, and I would say that I've seen some proposals, and not every proposal is the same, but I have seen some proposals where people do put kind of like expectations, like next expectations or next steps, or anticipated steps in there. I mean, like DeFi was saying, we don't want it to be very rigid, but definitely just having an idea expressed to the community, like, oh, after this is done, then we do this, or the next step, like, oh, we don't have layer 2 yet, so that has to be an expectation that has to be put there before it gets implemented fully. So maybe the proposer has to have a little bit more just details to what the expectations are or what it entails, so that the community can make that informed decision, knowing that this might be something that's a little bit further down the roadmap versus something that's going to be happening right away.
Yeah, I think even something as simple as adding a new section of your proposal's passed, so now what? And setting the helping the person to visualize what to expect next. Because right now there's literally nothing mentioned. And so something like you may have to work with the people involved to get it passed or to get it executed.
Something I want to make really clear, because I think this is a great discussion. I love where we're ending up. We're like, yes, let's set better expectations. Let's get better. Let's make it really clear and always be optimizing what our process is for taking on these bounty proposals from third parties. But something that's very important to remember is like, what is the DAO actually, right? And what do token holders actually have control of? Because token holders do not have control. They can't control any individuals. They can't control work streams, right? The DAO is a smart contract. It's a treasury. It can control assets in the treasury, and it can control other contracts that the DAO is an admin of. That's all the DAO can do, right? And if a workstream wants to make a proposal for funding, they make the proposal to the DAO, and token holders approve it, and then we can make the transaction from the DAO to token holders. But I just want to make that distinction because it is an important distinction to keep in mind, and maybe we should do a better job setting those expectations. But the DAO, that is what the DAO can do, basically, is we can make these proposals for transactions. And so that's a good way to think about it. It's just specifically when you're making a proposal, what transactions do you need to be executed, and what timeline do you want to require those transactions to get executed by? That's, I think, a big part of the clarity that we're missing.
Good point, Willie. Very good point.
Yep, and to Jenkins' point too, or designate someone doing the action items as well.
And this might not fit in this conversation perfectly, but something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, and I know I've been chatting with product too, is how we even want to let proposals and bounties, to Willie's point, kind of influence individuals. Because you're right, no proposal, no bounty can make an individual do anything. And so when a bounty or proposal comes out that and it's highly incentivized, all of a sudden now we have individuals who are going after that bounty. Is that we need to find a way to align incentives with the DAO. Like right now, if you're a full-time contributor or even part-time contributor, you work for a work stream. The work stream gets their money from the treasury, which is voted on by the community. Once you start adding in some of these outside aspects, and I'm now working for a bounty, yes, we're all trying to make the DAO and Fox be as successful as possible, but now my incentives are aligned more to complete this bounty or do whatever it takes to collect on this bounty as opposed to benefiting the DAO directly. So it's a little bit of nuance, but I do want to make sure that as we continue developing these processes and procedures, that it all... Hey, Jess, any questions?
You got a hot mic, Jess.
Sounded like Lil Jon there, Jess.
Anyway, so yeah, I just want to make sure that we're always thinking of how do we align incentives so that the DAO is in line with the treasury, which is in line with the work streams, which is in line with the individuals, which is in line with the community, and trickles all the way down.
Yeah, I agree. It's situational. Not everybody can be expected to participate in the DAO the same way. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I think that's what OX was kind of pointing at too. You don't want to set some standards, some centralized DAO standards that probably should be more DAO-ish. So I think an article, a simple article though, Seth, could be a problem solver. So your proposal passed, what do you do now? You kind of defined that exact thought that you're having, and I think that's a thought some people may have as well. So we could probably the education team could probably write an article on that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty easy for me. I could just add it to our document to-do list. So I'll do that.
Sweet. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for bringing up that discussion, Seth. I think it's a great thing for us to work on. Any other thoughts on that discussion topic, or should we move on? Cool. And yeah, just another reminder to get in. There's that great relevant forum post for the addendum to the governance process. So any ideas for how we can improve the governance process, now is the time to go share those in the forum.
Oh, dude, you were talking to Steve since the last lunch AMA when we tried to talk about merch. Any updates?
I know that today we are paying for the ETH Denver swag, and then supposedly, yeah, they said, let me follow up with Steve right now, just make sure we're on track for January 28th merch store launch. I trust we're on track for it, and they've shared kind of the first pieces of swag that'll be available. Kind of just a evergreen, basic black stuff with the logo on it. From their data, they've seen that stuff always sells really well. So we're going to start with that. And then I want to see too if they can get, since they're already printing this ETH Denver swag for us too, if we can have that for sale after ETH Denver, because that design's so slick.
Yeah, it means we need a marketing push on the merch store for sure.
Yes, definitely. We're going to try and treat it like a product launch. And yeah, that was a cool question that Gray Machine had posed. What do you guys think about, should we link to the merch store from our apps, from the mobile app, beta.shapeshift.com, and or the V2 app? We definitely want to link to it from ShapeShift.com, but do we want to also include a link to the merch store somewhere in our products? What do you guys think?
Why wouldn't we?
Well, I think the question is, where do we put it, basically? And so obviously we would putting it in the sidebar might be too much, but you could make the argument that we would do it. So I think it's about just the UI UX, right? There's good stuff to add, but at the same time too, we don't want to just add everything in the world and links to all this stuff and make the core UI UX less good.
Is there any place, some non-invasive place that you're already looking at?
Yeah, I was thinking if we were to do it, then like the settings page on the mobile app or the drop down menus in the top right corner for the beta and V2, I think would be a nice non-invasive way that we could at least have it linked. But a lot of people would still see it at some point.
I mean, one possibility too is like on the page before you log into your wallet, like just on the landing page itself, so it kind of can go off from there, and you can kind of have like a little thing like, you know, link your wallet to the store and buy merch, you know, or something. But it doesn't have to move your wallet if the space is UX.
Is that me, or is he going like?
You're breaking up, Never Was.
Yeah.
But we heard you. They're both
Yeah,
saying maybe on that Connect Wallet screen.
Yeah. Another like topic of discussion is like taxi stakes proposal. It's like gonna end in 2 days. I saw it has like a ton of votes now. I think it's like over 5 million now. So that's sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. Another revenue source.
That's huge. And yeah, I saw John was talking about ideally getting like five Cosmos zones built and for staking and validators running by Q1 and I think 10 by Q2. And I really like that, especially as we're adding support for all these Cosmos zones. That'll be so huge if we can offer both staking for each of them in the app and then also have the DAO operate validators and just keep adding on these revenue streams. Really excited for that.
All for more infrastructure, bro. Especially like the fact that we have like taxi stake and we can do it in like the DAO way, like really just kick it up. It's awesome.
Heck yeah. Ooh, just had another idea for where we might want to put the links to the swag store. So for a while, product teams talked about like having kind of like featured cards type we could put like on the dashboard or and we could kind of just call out exciting stuff that we want to make sure users see. And so maybe the swag store could just be like one of those cards. And then we have another one for like the Yearn integration or any of the cool new features that we launch. What do you guys think of that?
I'm just excited like that people are talking about perp again. So that means it's like getting closer, maybe.
Yeah,
I know it's not priority for me to like 10x long fox, but I really want to like 10x long fox.
Same. Great Machine, what do you think about like putting the link to the swag store, burying it in like a drop down or settings, or potentially doing those like feature cards and having it?
Yeah, I think we need to be tasteful about it. I think we also need to consider that there's plenty of opportunity as we push new stuff is to push it on Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And I'd be curious, like, if we could watch the analytics on that, like just basic source analytics, like where we're getting people from, and that will dictate where we can put, like if it's just, if we're linking mostly from social media and not linking off of the site, then we know to, just focus more on the social side of things. I like the idea of it on the main page. I feel like in drop downs and stuff like that, it's going to get kind of lost. Like if you're specifically looking for merch or whatever. And then like in the mobile app, I don't know. I worry about it feeling like one of those annoying pages that, like if I'm looking for a recipe or something, and then it's like popping up saying, buy this and click on this and subscribe to our newsletter. Like, I really think keeping the mobile app as hyper focused as possible is probably the best way to go for that.
Cool. I completely agree. I just asked Steve Brood too if we'll be able to see any analytics. I think it's a great idea to experiment linking to the store from a couple different places in the app and better understand the impact.
Yeah, if it could like stay variable though somehow, it would be awesome because we're also gonna have like the Meta Factory thing. So if we could like if there's some way to make it so we can have like that's why the drop down sounded attractive to me. It's like we could have like made a factory like linked out there and like do stuff like that, but I don't know. I'd have to look at it.
Cool. Good thing for product team to brainstorm, and yeah, if anyone has any ideas for how we can link to this, and ideally doing it in a way like Huntstand where we can maybe link to other things too. Please let us know in product design channel. Mace, I see your question in the audience. What type of swag? There's definitely going to be t-shirt swag at ETH Denver. So anyone who's coming to ETH Denver, you will get a sweet ShapeShift swag shirt. And you're probably going to get a lot of other swag. So definitely good thing to don't pack a full suitcase. Make sure you leave some room for swag to bring back. There's a lot of good swag at Ethereum conferences. I think we're going to have some stickers too.
And a ton of POAPs.
Sweet knife goat shirt.
You got one of those too? I thought it was special. Josh gave us. You guys see this knife goat emoji that we like to use in Discord? Any community members know? I've guessed what that means. All right.
Knife goat.
Knife goat. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It means sacrifice a goat. Basically, and it's something that we try to do. You know, if we're deploying a new feature or something, or if we're pushing something out and hoping that everything will work, we sacrifice a goat to make sure the gods are appeased. And then Josh,
you know, the history of that goes all the way back to when we were on Slack and we were running our minimally custodial exchange, like back in the bull run in 2017, and we just had we were running millions, tens of millions of dollars a day through our systems in crypto, and it was brittle. We were, all the different, we dealt with multiple blockchains. That's what we were, cross-chain blockchain exchange, right? And so the blockchain systems were brittle. Our systems weren't like super robust. And so it broke a lot. And we'd be, typically Saturday morning, I'd wake up, oh shit, you can't trade ETH, or such and such coin is down. And we would just gather people remotely and just start working on it. And we'd say, hey, I think I found it. I'm going to push this to prod right now. And then you'd see like a lot of knife goats just show up in Slack emojis, right? Please, pray to the crypto gods that sacrifice the goat, that this is what fixes the problem.
Have your goat, no goat.
Goat, no goat, totally.
Please, can we do it? Yes, that's the official name from now on.
Pretty sure you have the person who's putting them in sesh on the call. So you want goat, no goat? I'm over it. You got it.
Yep.
I mean that works great, but also as an added bonus, we could have knife chicken, because obviously foxes love to steal chickens. So if we sacrifice some chickens to the fox gods, maybe we can get our shit through even better.
I just posted the shirt in general, by the way. If you guys want to see how been rocking it already.
Let's see.
I'm definitely wearing it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
There we go. That's it.
Yes. Once we have this merch store, something that I'm very keen for us to do, I think we've talked about it a little bit, is just a starter pack for all the community to get some cool swag, get a keep key. It's something that ShapeShift used to do. On your first day as an employee, you come in and on your desk you have the whole starter pack of swag. And it was something that makes you feel so good. And then you can, wear your swag and drink out of your coffee mug every day. So I would love to see us offer that to workstream contributors that at least get hired for a salaried role. I think it'd be awesome to give them a ShapeShift starter pack, maybe with the keep key too.
It looks like like a top secret project. Like when a public company is doing an acquisition, they always like give it some weird name so that they can't disclose the acquisition, right? Like Project Knife Goat. My previous company was apparently Giant Lobster when we were acquired. Why Giant Lobster? I don't know.
I'm trying to remember the nickname we had for ShapeShift at Bitfract. I know we were talking to Exodus and we called them Octopus. I can't remember what did we call ShapeShift. But yeah, we had to be very secretive in a co-working space talking about it.
Now you go from planning to Twitter. That was amazing. Like when what was it? I think it was Fox Chain or something like that. It was like one meeting, and then like boom, it was on social media.
I love that.
It's just crazy, right? Because like we spend 2-3 years keeping projects under wraps, and then you put it out, and then by then you're so sick of it you don't want to talk about it.
Totally. I think it's unhealthy. I hated having to keep secrets. It was one of my least favorite things about ShapeShift because like we're building cool stuff. Like we were at Bitcoin Miami and we couldn't tell anybody about this DAO thing, right? And it's like, oh my god, so badly I wanted to talk to cool people about this DAO thing we were doing. I was so excited about it, and I couldn't talk about it, And I that was always the case. We always had to be very secretive. We didn't talk about anything until it was live and we launched it. And I much prefer just being completely transparent, having all these talks in public, and you never have to worry about secrets because everything's just transparent. I much prefer it. It is definitely different. Hunt, how's this like PoApathon going? We got a bunch of artists competing, trying to design the best PoApp for ShapeShift at East Denver.
Yeah, I was just talking to Tyler about it. We have some really cool ones that are coming in right now. Well, some of them are goofy, but some of them are pretty cool.
I'm looking at the one you just sent, with the fox laser eyes. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll post something, and I'll post an invite for everybody in general.
Very cool. So how does it work? There's all these cool PoApps getting created. Do we just get one at the end? Or
No, like I need to look at it depends. I think like at the end of the day, like we're like handing out 10 maybe prizes. I guess there's like a prize pool that we signed up for, but the cool thing in my opinion is they have like all of these different projects that are like participating. So reasonably speaking, there's only like so many people, and they're all like participating in all of the different like contests. So there's like a really good chance like for them to either win like something for the contest or have like people reach out to them. Like Toasty and I are already talking to some of these people about possibly like contributing and stuff. So it has like yeah, there's a bunch of benefit to it beyond just like the cool little like contest for East Denver.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are we scooping up the info on these artists in any way? Like if we're like, wow, that's a badass PoApp, we could, like as in the future, if we need more, well, not if, but when we need more designers, because we haven't had a lot of graphic designers come in, at least, yeah. So if we're scooping the info on these people, that would be, I think, really useful.
Yeah, we have a whole channel, so I can just like go through the channel and like see all their submissions. It's cool. I put an invite in general. But yeah, that's what I was talking to Toasty about. I think that it would be like it's clearly like something that we would benefit from by reaching out to these people and seeing if they want to contribute. And I think a lot of them would be like super happy to connect with projects, and I'm sure that's like on a lot of these designers' minds is they're not really in it for like $100 or $200 prize. Yeah, they want to talk to like people, different DAOs that have work for them and stuff. So
cool. I have like a budget for freelance contractor bounty kind of stuff, but I was thinking of turning that into like a part-time position because there's just always already I'm like 2 weeks into this. There's such a backlog of things to do. So grabbing some names would be helpful for me so I can start coming up with people to reach out to.
Yeah, I'll put together like I'll start putting like all these different DMs and leads that I get throughout the day, and like I'd probably have like a lot of leads compiled for every work stream possibly. So I really need to like go through that and figure out who I haven't talked to. I've been pretty good about like clearing the backlog. We just finally like got together with Lorax dude, which was like needed to be done. So we got that done. So we're trying to like clear the backlog of people that are like definitely interested in contributing.
Cool. Excited to see these POAPs and yeah, bring some more talented artists into the creative services stream.
We have a new proposal up.
Oh, you want to tell us about it, DeFi?
Maybe. I mean, I wish Perky was in here.
He's traveling.
Michael Perkland, he was our Chief Information Security Officer at centralized ShapeShift, and just all around crypto OG. Has put up a proposal just now. It's been in ideation where it got strong support for Foxchain. So the TLDR on Foxchain is our front end is entirely decentralized and can't be censored. It's open source. We can host an IPFS, blah, blah, blah. The back end, we are more decentralized than a lot of protocols currently are. So if you're running a dApp, like Yearn, you rely on, typically a lot of people on like the ETH chain at least rely on like Infura for node data. And now there was like kind of a relevant tweet recently by the guy who founded Signal called Moxie Marlinspike of his like Web3 first impressions, and kind of criticized like, a lot of protocols for calling themselves decentralized, but the way that everyone like accesses this data is via Infura. So we run Unchained on the back end, which is kind of one step better because, the foundation's running it, and also we're going to have Taxi Stake running it soon. Now, Unchained also doesn't just support EVM stuff; it supports Bitcoin too. And with the work that like Adam and others are doing, like Highlander, we're going to support Cosmos chains as well. So, what Foxchain is proposing is it's solving a really hard problem. How do you incentivize people to run Unchained nodes? Because Unchained and then the like chain daemons themselves, so like Bitcoin D or Geth as the ETHful node. How do we incentivize people to run these and then not lie? Like, there's a few requirements. How do we make sure they're available? How do we make sure they're responsive? How do we make sure they're up to date? How do we make sure they are in consensus with other nodes so that you're not just relying on one person? So what Foxchain proposes to do is basically solve this problem of decentralizing blockchain information. So in the spirit of being cross-chain, it's not just for ETH or Bitcoin, it's this kind of generalized any node, any chain. How do we run that? So this is kind of crucial for us. We'd love to be able to be entirely decentralized. We've always, from the beginning of ShapeShift, tried to embody that spirit. So on a technical side of things, it helps us there, but it's also more broadly, helps decentralize more and more of these dApps properly rather than like relying on these kind of centralized chain indexing services. And this would also, if we get the kind of tokenomics and design of this right, would be a huge boon to the DAO in terms of revenue streams. If these validators can generate revenue, kind of like a commercial or enterprisey type service where you can ask for balance, transaction data, broadcasting for all of these different chains. So massive thing for the DAO, and would strongly encourage everyone to support. Obviously, do your own research, but has full support from me and pretty much all of the other engineering leadership and Taxi Stake too. We kind of sat down in a room together, I think it was in November last year maybe, and spec'd all this stuff out. So yeah, awesome proposal from Perkland. Please go and check it out on governance.
Thanks, DeFi Cafe.
I want to pipe in on some support for this proposal too, and make sure people know that it's the proposal is not to create the whole thing. That would be too much funding to justify at this point. But if we can hit those deliverables that he outlined and prove some of that stuff out, spending $300,000 right now, it's so worth it, because it will either show that it's not a worthy project to pursue, and if it is, I believe that there's a partnerships to build here, and Perkland is an awesome blockchain bridge builder. So it's a real it could turn into a real powerful opportunity for ShapeShift DAO to build some really strong partnerships in developing Fox Chain, which just makes us stronger beyond just what the awesomeness that Fox Chain will provide us too. So big support from me for that proposal.
Good points, Josh. And yeah, definitely will solidify our relationship with Cosmos and the whole Cosmos ecosystem. We already have a really long lasting and healthy relationship with them, but this will really seal the deal. And yeah, I'm excited for Fox Chain to, for us to have our own Cosmos zone, have our own chain, and we can get IBC Fox on Osmosis, and you'll be able to trade it and liquidity provide for 0 fees right now. All that will be fantastic. I'm really excited for this one.
So where is the proposal in the process, and when does it move into ideation?
It got posted into ideation just this morning, so it's got another 5 days in ideation.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, posted a link in the stage chat. So far, it's got 100% support from freeloaders. Fox Chain, very exciting. All right, any other topics or questions?
Willie, I see the Angel Vaults are moving forward. Do we have any update on when those might be live this week or next?
Yeah, we made a lot of progress there. Right now, the blocker for the next step is for Mr. Nerdhair to review the liquidity farming contract and confirm that it is it's both the liquidity farming contract, and they want him to review the change to update the Oracle. So yeah, we're standing by waiting for that. Once that's done, we have the transactions kind of planned out that we'll need to execute to get the Angel Vault live. So any day, we're just waiting on that audit from Mr. Nerdhair, and he's been juggling a lot. So not trying to rush him. I know it's on his radar, and he's going to get to it soon.
Thanks for the update. Super excited to see that launch.
Same. You bet. Yeah, excited to see the Angel Vault launch, and excited for this new farming program. Could be a pretty good yield for one Fox. All right, any other questions or topics?
Can I chat? Just, I don't know if this is the best time, but just a couple details on ETH Denver.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I had posted a couple thoughts in the ETH Denver planning thing. So table skirt, we can get full color, right? So we don't have to have just like midnight blue with white. We could match the backdrop a little bit if that's something that we would like to do. I just need to lay that out and, kind of do a mock-up of what that would look like. Or do we just want a more generic, skirt that we don't want to commit to this sort of Borealis artwork style right now? Curious if anybody has any thoughts or no thoughts, and just have me do whatever. I can do that too. I kind of like the idea of it matching, so that was how I was leaning.
You're talking about the tablecloth?
Yeah.
Borealis and
Yeah, so it's a full 4-color digital print, so it can be anything. So it's not just us like picking a color and then slapping a logo on it. Like they print the whole thing.
Well, I like more colors and
okay,
it's base stuff. Yeah. Does anyone else feel differently? Does anyone else think that it should just be the static color for the tablecloth?
I have no opinions on the color. But my thought is when it comes to logistics of having, we're all kind of working remote, or at least many of us are, logistics for getting both the entire setup from point A to point B when it has to go from event to event. I don't know what kind of space that's going to take up or how that'll be handled.
Yeah.
So
my thought was, oh, go ahead.
Well, just to be clear, it's a retractable banner, right? So the whole thing, it's got some piping that all retracts, and then the whole thing, like a tape measure, right? It just kind of like pulls together. So there's that, and then there's the tablecloth. So none of it is going to take up a huge amount of space. It should be able to fit in like a medium to large size moving box kind of thing. So
yeah, the only thing I would say was just reusability. Can this be used for more than one event, or is this really stick to this one event going forward? That would be my only question. And if it's reusable, then I don't see why it doesn't look great.
I have two thoughts on that. One is this is an event right after our major V2 launch. So we could make the argument that it's, even if it's not repurposable for years to come or whatever, that I think this is probably the timing of this, I think warrants, especially, we're not talking like $2,000. We're talking, I think, altogether $300. That because this coincides with the V2 launch, I think it's good to just kind of just package it all together. That said, I don't, as long as so this design, as far as I know, is mimicking the landing page. Like once it's not the little floaty ball kind of thing, and once it launches, I haven't actually seen it live, but that's my understanding that this also matches the front page. So it is a bit of consistency, at least as long as we have that front page design.
Yeah, I mean the cost, like you said, the cost gray isn't that much, $300. So yeah, at that point, I guess it's up to preference.
Yeah, it's not like that backlit one that I was all excited about, but that it was like 75 pounds and $1,200.
Cool. And in terms of storage and management of it, Ron had asked, is this something the foundation can help with? I took it back to the foundation, and both me and Ocean were like, yeah, we're happy to keep this stuff in our garage and ship it. But Ocean had said he would prefer to do it as a DAO member rather than as the foundation. And I'm not sure if it's an important distinction, but I think it's just like, anytime that the DAO can do something and we don't necessarily need the foundation to do it, we want to try and push the DAO to do it itself. But yeah, what do you guys, do you guys think it makes sense for any specific work stream to kind of be the steward of the booth materials?
Well, here's one thought I have is I think, and maybe with where I come from, because I've always done like national, like it's called the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, and that's like booth crazy. Like there's, they've got green screens and cameras and LED displays. So I come from this, like when we do an event, we go all out. So I've been a little more focused on the design and look and, the print and the video and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. But I think what it's pointing to is having, I know we have somebody sort of managing the mechanics of getting us registered and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, the booth itself, the booth design, the materials, all of that in terms of just the design itself, I think it probably next convention or whatever that we do, that we probably should from the get-go assign somebody to be in charge of like the booth itself, like the event, the look, the feel, the materials. And I don't know if that affects who's storing it, or at least the person is responsible for knowing who is storing it, right? Like I think I mentioned putting a tile on it or something so that we know where it is. I don't think it really matters, but like out of convenience, it could go to somebody in Denver, but the next time could be in, who knows, in Lisbon or Rio or whatever. So I guess my suggestion would be for us to think about somebody that is kind of managing the boothy booth stuff. Put them in charge of knowing where the stuff is, and then whoever is willing to donate, 3 square feet in their attic or garage to have an awareness of where this stuff is and then where it needs to go next.
Awesome. That sounds like a great plan and great learnings from this first one that we can keep in mind for next event. Cool. Well, I would be happy to keep that stuff in my garage, and I would hope to go to the next conference too. So I could be a good steward for it. Already taken delivery of the t-shirts for the conference. So.
Yeah, the print materials they send straight to the conference because that's the ETH Denver pre-approved vendor. So.
Oh, nice! Super cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to this. It'll be our first big event as a DAO, and I couldn't think of a better debut than ETH Denver. We got more people on the call now. Let's do another roll call. Going from the top down, who's going to make it to ETH Denver? Start with you, DeFi Cafe. Gonna make it?
Good questions, Willie. Of course I'll be there.
Yeah, you're like Martin, right? Are they going to have your little avatar on the ETH Denver website?
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I actually gave that to one of the organizers. So yeah, we need to get your avatar there too instead of your face, so we can have like the matching unicorns. Yeah. I do think your unicorn's still cooler than mine.
I got a custom one I left out. Sweet, looking forward to it, dude. Darwin, what about you? Are you gonna make it to ETH Denver? Darwin? Darwin's probably like knee deep. Oh, here we go.
Play with Discord. Oh yes, I will be there.
Sweet, dude. Looking forward to it. David, Are you gonna make it?
I would love to, but I have some family obligations.
Understood. Hopefully next year or at another event this year. Fox McLeod?
Yeah, wouldn't miss it. I'll be there, and if anyone needs help with, just to your point, Great Machine, if you need any help storing anything or bringing anything to the event, I'm happy to help out where needed.
Appreciate that, sir. Fox Rain, you can make it. All right, Giant Kin, you gonna make it? I know Giant Kin's not gonna make it this year, right?
I'm not gonna make it this year, but I've been hearing rumors about ETH Cleveland. When's that happening? You said what was that?
Is that a real thing? Or are you joking?
Well,
there is. I just saw there's a Cleveland.eth at least. Great Machine, you know you're gonna be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Looking forward to hanging out in RL, dude. Give me a big hug. Highland, what about you? Are you making it to ETH Denver?
Yeah, I'm going to be there, repping some Keep Keys, probably be giving some away, and I'm floating the idea of participating in the hackathon.
Sweet. You know what you'll be working on yet?
Got some ideas floating around.
Sure, you got no shortage of ideas. That's awesome, dude.
Speaking of hackathon, really, I ran into someone last night who used to be a contributor to Colony and built their reputation system, and I kind of spruiked your draft idea of on-chain, gasless voting for like a decentralized app store. So I'm going to G him up and see if we can get him to work on that, maybe.
Yes, my man. And I love the discussion we had the other day about maybe we can have like some bounty ideas that will be good for hackathon projects, just like best implementation of HD Wallet. But then also maybe it's just an opportunity for us to just shill all these other bounties for like one-off things that we want devs to do, and maybe there'll be a lot of devs there that aren't working on a hackathon project but still want to knock out some bounties and earn some extra cash. So I'm glad we had that discussion. I think we can have a nice mix of both types of bounties. H-Pain, you gonna make it?
You bet I am. I got accepted yesterday, so I'm looking forward to having my first experience there.
Excited to meet you, dude. So how will we know it's you? I haven't met you in person yet. So,
We'll have to do a call sign. So I need you to practice your best fox sound, and when you just go up to people and just start making those sounds, and when someone does it back to you, you'll know it's me.
And if they don't do it back to you, you might People might think you're crazy, but hey, that's
Exactly. It's a win-win.
Love it. Looking forward to meeting you, dude.
Yeah, likewise.
Jess, you gonna make it?
No, I'm not. I really want to. I've got major FOMO and we're going to have stuff for C4 there. But no, I want to go, but I think that unfortunately with my anxiety and everything going on with COVID, I just won't be able to handle it, which sucks. But it is where I'm at right now. So, but I'm excited that C4 will be there and ShapeShift and everything. And I'm going to be very jealous of everyone who is actually there. So, yeah, I'm bummed, but yep, that's it. Also, feel free to call me Lil John now, apparently, because
Lil Jess, love it.
Apparently, I'm
Okay,
good at hot mics. So you're
welcome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, we're at time. Maybe let's see how fast we can get through everyone else who hasn't chimed in yet. Josh,
I'll
just
be
take it
there.
away. Sweet.
I'll be there.
LPX, looking at you.
I'm a travel band until I serve in the military.
Dang, that is too bad. We're looking forward to East Korea one day, dude. I'd love to come visit you up there.
Yeah, dude.
Miguel, and let's just keep moving it through. Don't wait for me. Just keep passing it because me 6 is a bot. Miguel B. All right, moving on, Miss.
I'll be there.
Woo! Heck yeah! Can't wait.
Not this time.
Hopefully next time. Psycho. Ron.
I'll be there.
Yes, I know you're gonna be there, Ron. Ron's been going to all the ETH Never live streams. It's awesome. All right, I'm slowing this down. Seth, are you gonna be there? I hope Seth is gonna be there.
Sorry, I will not be there.
Okay. Well, hopefully soon, dude. I'll look forward to the day we meet in RL. Trev Dev.
Absolutely, coming out of Florida.
Yeah. Woo! All right, making the trip, dude. And Tyler.
I'll be there.
Sweet, dude. Awesome. We're gonna have an awesome crew. Looking forward to it, everybody. Thanks for doing the roll call. That was fun. Can't wait to meet you all in RL.
Thanks all. Have a good rest of your day.